AITA for letting my boyfriend come over even though my roommate wears a hijab.
I live with 4 roommates and one of them is Muslim and wears a hijab, and that's awesome. I wouldn't even dream of saying it isn't her choice. She doesn't wear it at home of course since we're all girls and one guy, and that guy is her boyfriend and he stays with her in their room. She wears it when she's going out to war when men except for her boyfriend come over. Absolutely none of us have a problem with it. Her boyfriend is a little messy and loud and sometimes sarcastic enough to irritate people, but it's okay, it's nothing bad. He eats our food sometimes and although it's frustrating I'm not gonna pick a fight over it. I started dating someone a month ago and he's been coming over often. Almost every day. We usually stick to my room except for when we're cooking or sitting in the living room. My roommate is wearing a hijab at home since he's coming over and I didn't notice that until she and her boyfriend confronted me about it after my boyfriend left yesterday night. They said it's very frustrating for my roommate to have to wear a hijab 24/7 when my boyfriend is home and that they want me to restrict him coming over twice a week. I said that's ridiculous because her annoying ass boyfriend is here every single day and none of us complain. So why should my boyfriend not be allowed over? She said I'm disrespecting her and that it's wrong of me to expect her to wear a hijab 24/7. I told her I'll be bringing my boyfriend over whenever I want and she doesn't have a say in it. They've been trying to convince me that what I'm doing is horrible and rude and I'd quit to think. Am I being racist and wrong? It's not my fault she has to cover up. Why should she be allowed to have her boyfriend with her but the rest of us have to suffer? Edit, roommate's boyfriend is a permanent guest, he doesn't pay rent, he just stays here because otherwise he'd be homeless.
NTA. This is called unreasonable expectations. She has the right to practice her beliefs. That doesn't mean that she can control your actions. I don't eat beef for religious reasons. That doesn't mean that I will restrict someone that pays rent and is a roommate to cook beef at our place. She wears the hijab so it is her issue to deal with.
NTA, setting boundaries for how often guests can be over is an important part of living in a roommate situation, and it's perfectly reasonable for you to assume that since she has her boyfriend over daily, you are all welcome to have guests daily. If she wants to change it, that's a conversation to be had, but it needs to apply to everyone, including her. So if guys can only come over twice a week, that applies to her partner too. She cannot expect you to conform to her religious beliefs and how you conduct your social life. She's welcome to wear her hijab or not, but you are under no obligation to work around her clothing requirements.
NTA at all. Non-practicing Muslim here, and the first thing that ticked me off is that her boyfriend is allowed in her house and she takes off her hijab for him? Excuse me, but as far as I know, until you are absolutely married under the eyes of God by a hookah Muslim priest, with the blessing of your father, then her boyfriend is no different from yours and she should be wearing that hijab 24/7 when her boyfriend is in the house too. Also, I bet her family doesn't even know he comes over. So sin on top of sin. She is wrong to ask you not to bring your boyfriend over. As a general rule, if one is allowed then all should be, and she should be respecting your lifestyle as you respect her. Hypocritical one. Alhamdulillah. NTA. I'm Muslim. There can't be a different rule for her and a different rule for you. 1. Unless he's her husband. If she observed hijab, it should be around him too. Your boyfriend should be allowed to spend an equivalent amount of time there. 3. Or her boyfriend contributes to rent and utilities and then has the same rights as a roommate and can then ask for no guests. 4. Them being complete hypocrites and using the hijab to emotionally blackmail you whilst not actually following the rules appropriately themselves. Unless her and her boyfriend are actually married, makes them ta. NTA. Edit. I misread this as if her boyfriend doesn't officially live there. But no, it's not reasonable for the rest of the roommates to not have guys over. I would still offer to have a couple of days per week where she can be comfortable and take off her hijab. But I still think you need to address him eating your food and being loud and sarcastic. You all need a roommate meeting. You should offer a compromise that 2 days of the week are no boy days. Meaning no one can have their boyfriend or guy friends over. Having a boyfriend over every day is way too much. Even 5 days a week is too much emo. And she should not have been doing that in the first place. He doesn't live there. And you need to air your grievances about her boyfriend. He absolutely should not be eating your food and he should be quiet and respectful. NTA. If she is having her boyfriend spend the night and doesn't wear her hijab around him, she isn't being very strict in her practice and is using her religion as an excuse. That said, with 4 people in the house, I don't think anyone should be having their boyfriends over all the time. That's just being a courteous roommate. It's time for a roommate meeting between the 4 of you to set some ground rules. NTA. 2 of my roommates are Muslim and wear hijabs. They had their boyfriends over all of the time and I did as well. They chose whether to wear their hijab or to not in front of each other's significant others. But ultimately, it was their problem to figure out. If your roommate has her BF around all the time, she shouldn't expect yours to be limited. Otherwise, the limit should be enforced all around. NTA. First, if one roommate wants to impose restrictions on male guests, the restrictions must apply to all male guests. No exceptions. Second, you are not forcing her to wear a hijab 24/7. Her beliefs are. She lives in a multi-belief setting, which means unfortunately she can't control what everyone else does. If she wants to live somewhere she can control things like this, she needs to find a full Muslim household that is required to follow her beliefs fully just the same as she. Which however probably won't work, as my understanding is she'd still have to cover around their boyfriends and they hers. If she wants fairness then she has to give it, which means whatever limits she wants on your boyfriend's visits will also apply to her boyfriend's limits. Do not back down. NTA. Isn't she violating her own rules by having her boyfriend see her without the hijab? Let alone having him in her bedroom? I'm pretty sure that most strict Muslims would have a serious problem with what she's doing, which is having relations with a man and not being married to him. In other words, she's a hypocrite. NTA. Keep aside hijab for a moment. She's living with her BF. When she can be with her BF, you're allowed to be with yours too. Rule can't be different for same matter. Wearing hijab is her issue. People can't stop living because of her. What if other roommates too bring their partners in? Should everyone stop dating? She can stay in her room until your BF leaves. I wouldn't ask you to stay in yours because it's not your issue. It's not racist if you can't bring your partner to your home while she's living with hers. It's plain right hypocrisy. Did she seriously expect none of you to date or bring home your respective partners? NTA. Tell her you'll consider it when the rule applies to her and her BF as well. No one who genuinely cares about hijab would have a boyfriend who they take it off in front of. That boyfriend is no different in the eyes of the religion than a stranger off the street. The only way I could understand her POV is if she is actually naked with him and they've chosen to just call him a boyfriend to avoid saying he is her husband. More likely thing is that she is an asshole and a hypocrite. NTA. NTA. I feel the same way about wearing pants, but I do because it's my choice. She made a religious choice to cover up. Complaining about having to do that is rather silly. We won't even get into the whole boyfriend and being uncovered bit. She go into her room and be in there without having to wear it. Her having her BF there also stopped the rest of you girls from being fully relaxed too. Either there is a rule for all or no rule. NTA. I'm not Muslim, but I'm pretty sure she's still supposed to be wearing the hijab around her boyfriend too. If she wants to dictate when guests are allowed, then she needs to get her own place. NTA. Sorry. If she can have her boyfriend there, so can you. Her religion and its rules does not mean she gets to dictate what you do. If she is such a stickler for following the rules of her faith, why is her boyfriend allowed to see her without it? He is neither her husband or a relative. She can't have it both ways. LMAO. Having a boyfriend is haram. No boys, yours or hers. NTA. Exactly how religiously observant is she claiming to be if she's already letting a man who isn't her husband out a family member see her with her hijab off? That's quite the double standard. NTA. She set the precedent of her boyfriend coming over whenever he wants. So yours should be offered the same rules. As long as you give her a heads up so she can be sure to be wearing the hijab when he arrives. You're doing nothing wrong. Yes, it's her religious belief. But that doesn't mean she gets special rules due to it. She can choose to stay in her room and not wear it. Maybe as a compromise try to set girls only times when no boyfriends at all can be over. That way she doesn't have to wear the hijab. And y'all get a break from her boyfriend. NTA. This is not about religion per se. You have in no way disrespected her decision to wear a hijab. Nor have you done anything other than what she herself is doing by having her boyfriend over on a daily basis. If she would like you to only have your boyfriend over twice a week, then that rule needs to apply to her as well. NTA. They are being huge Oz though. In fact, I believe that, unless he is a relative or her husband, your roommate should wear the hijab around him. They are being very inconsistent in their faith.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.